Now that we have some familiarity with the overall tools that we are presented with for working on pages, it's a good moment to take a pause and consider the differences between landing pages and standard content pages. And if I look at these training pages that I have here, and yours will reflect the same, this is the landing page. And you see that we've got a large section in the top, large image. We've got this in the section drop down that has a number of links in it. We have a yellow box here, the wheat background. It has a button, which would be a link button normally. We have sort of left-right vertical oriented sort of call out box. We got some text on it, a potential link button here, another heading, a link there, and an image. That's also a link if we want it to be. And it's sort of a setup to where it's overlapping the yellow box. We've got a gray background here behind it. So the landing page, as you can see, as it is generated by the system, is a bit of a visual reference. Whereas if we look at the standard content page over here, we do have a hero image at the top, and we have the in the section. But you'll notice that the construction is a little bit different here. We have sort of two different sections here. And let's go ahead and revert this back to its original version. Can you remember how we do that? I'm going to go on the versions tab. And I'm going to go to the bottom of the page, revert, revert, publish. And if I wanted a version description there, view a new window. And what we see here on the very base level standard content is we've got a section of text here, and we've got an empty spot here. And if we look at these two pages in their backstage view, let's get back to our landing page here. We've got a teaser content section here where this is, and this is a snippet. We'll learn more about snippets as we go along later. And a main content section down here, which you saw me put text in a previous video. And if we look at the standard content page in the same mode, we have a section here called main content. And we have a section called sidebar content by default. Let's go ahead and check this page out. So there's a little bit of a difference going on. You can instantly notice the section at the top here is less ostentatious, less fancy, if you will. And it seems to be supplied a bit more with text items, but also it's worth noting between the two that when we look over here at the landing page, the location of the green buttons to access editing for the sections, they are on the absolute edge of the screen. Whereas if we look at the standard content page, the main content button is tucked in. That's because standard content pages are mainly set up as informational pages. They're the support pages and the information pages typically throughout the web pages in the Wichita State University website. So they have an inbuilt margin because they think that the logical use for them is text. Now, the landing page is mainly meant for visual elements like snippets, and many of those run from one margin to the other margin. They cover the complete page. So that's a difference there. Because of that, if you were to enter text, say in main content here, you wouldn't have a margin unless you used what's called a generic section snippet to place your content inside of. So that's an important difference there. The two pages sort of serve different purposes. They can be used alternatingly. You can totally have a standard content page as an index page, homepage for your folder, and you can use a landing page as a normal content page in your folder. It's totally up to you which you use. But if we look at them now, we're going to start getting into the nitty gritty of page details. And a good place to start to look into that is the properties tab on both types of pages. So let's start here on the landing page. Click the properties tab. And we've got title and metadata. So it says title, Omni Basics landing page. So a lot of people look at this and they think that that's actually the top text title of the page right here. It actually isn't. What this title is referring to is the text up here on the tab itself, Omni Basics landing page. So if I were to change that to just say landing page, like so, and save it and publish it. And reopen that page, you can see that the text on the tab has changed to just read landing page. So it actually doesn't change the text up here. It changes the text in the tab. That's important to remember. If we go back into multi-edit again, or properties, you need to check the page out, don't I? It'll kick you out to preview mode when you save changes. And I'm going to go back into the properties tab. Excuse me, description. You can enter a description for your page here. It'll show up in search engine results. Keywords, if you want keywords, like I might say this is Omni CMS training. Search engines use these, like Google and such. Tags, these tags are used by the WSU search engine. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the pages. I might include tags such as MRC Web, since it's related to that, MRC. And you can add tags that don't exist in the system if you want. Like if I wanted to add a tag that's just my name, it'll show there and you just click on it and it'll create it. Custom settings, the page heading. This is the text at the top of the page. So I could delete that out to landing page. And page layout options navigation. So what it's referring to when it says options navigation is it's referring to the in this section. So if I were to shut that off like so and publish the page like that, this would disappear. Some people prefer to create navigation through their web pages via buttons or snippets or other methods other than using the in this section to do it. And that's perfectly okay. If you wanted to do it, that'll shut it off. I'm going to save this. And go ahead and publish. And when I refresh my published page, you'll see that that heading changed just like I said it to. The standard content page is very similar. If I click the properties tab, I've got the title and the tab, and I might change that to reflect the same uniformity of the page I just modified. Description again, keywords again, tags again, page heading. But we have a bit of a change here in that we have options, not just for navigation, but for sidebar and additional content. So if I were to turn those on, and go ahead and publish the page. And refresh my live page. There we go. You'll see in the edit mode, that of course is before I've got main content and I've got sidebar content. And I have an additional content button now for the underneath. And note that it does not reflect the margin usage of the main content. This additional content can be used for those side-to-side snippets that take up the whole page. So if you wanted to use some text and place one of those snippets down there, you certainly could. So that has a bit of a flexibility to it. And if I didn't want the sidebar and additional content at all, I can simply come into properties, turn them off. And now we've got an uninterrupted page with margins on it for that one. So now that we've looked at the properties tab, our next stop is to look in multi-edit at the hero section. See you then.